we lose access to the single market, let alone the customs union, that would be a huge blow to the British economy. And
so in those circumstances, you might block it?
We will, no, block sounds like we're being willful. We will make the case for what's right for the British economy. What else would you expect us to do?
Well, you know in the end, as I do, that all oppositions can do in Parliament, because usually they lose votes. That's the nature of opposition. Usually the government has a majority. All you can do in the end, whatever your view is on anything, is try to slow business down or to defeat the government. And I'm asking your bottom line. Are you in the end willing to frustrate Brexit if Labour doesn't get the things that it thinks is really important?
We're not about frustrating Brexit, but just last week, Keir Starmer got Theresa to do something she had sworn she would not do and come forward with her negotiating programme, some sort of white paper. So we believe that step by step, we can shed light on what the Tories are doing and hold it up for the public to take a view.
Well, I confess I'm no clearer whether you are going to frustrate Brexit in certain circumstances or never, but...
Well, you make it sound as if we're playing a game.
Well, no, you use your words. If you don't like frustrate, you don't like block.
No, you make it...
What are you prepared to do?
You make it sound like we're playing a game. We're not playing a game. We're trying to get the best outcome for the British people.
Now, one of the things you say is important is access to the single market. That means freedom of movement, doesn't it? So are you saying to your supporters, I'm sorry, it's economically in your interest for us to keep freedom of movement?
Access to the single market and freedom of movement are inextricably linked, and it would be wrong, and the Labour Party leadership has said this over and over again, it would be wrong to put the economy anything other than first.
So in other words, yes, you have to stick with freedom of movement.
There's going to be negotiation, but it's misleading to suggest to people, as some people do, that we can have access to the single market and just dump freedom of movement. The Swiss, when they negotiated about access, they had to keep a measure of freedom of movement, as did the Norwegians.
This is why people talk about confusion. The man who is running for mayor for the Labour Party in Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, says the freedom of movement of people has been defeated at the ballot box. It is no longer an option. You're saying it clearly is an option.
We believe in regional autonomy, and
you believe in Labour saying different things in different cities?
No. We believe in regional autonomy, and Andy's always had those views.
Okay.
But the truth is, you cannot have access to the single market without a measure of freedom of movement.
Well, let's quote somebody else. Carwyn Jones, he's leader of the Labour Party in Wales. He accuses you of having, quotes, a very London-centric position. This is not the way people see it outside London.
Wales and the West Country and the North East are some of the parts of the country that have the most to lose by coming out...
Forgive me. He's the First Minister. He's the leader of the party of Wales.
I know, but what I'm saying to you is that some of the areas that were most pro-Brexit are actually the areas that we need to fight for in terms of investment and in terms of protecting British industry.
So you, as an inner London MP, you know more than the leader of the Labour Party in Wales or the man who's running for mayor in Greater Manchester?
Well, if you're talking about immigration, if that's what they're talking about, my experience is that Labour Party members all over the country want immigration rules that are fair, and they want reasonable management of migration. And I've been all over the country, and that's what I found.
Do you still believe that the people that complain about freedom of movement want, and I quote, to see less foreign-looking people?
There is that element. There's no question that's element. However...
does Andy Burnham think that?
There are perfectly...
Does the leader of the party in Wales think that?
There are perfectly legitimate political reasons to vote for Brexit. You know...
No, I'm asking about freedom of movement, particularly.
Well, no, but if Tony Benn was alive, he'd have voted for Brexit. So I don't tar all the people that voted for Brexit with the same brush. But you have to understand...
It's your coat. The people that complain about freedom of movement want to see less foreign-looking people.
But you know, it's all very well. It's all very well to come and score points, but people are very frightened about this debate on Brexit. One of the things we want... You're asking us what we want to do? We want to secure the position of EU residents living here. People are frightened and they need reassurance.
And just finally, you've just promised at the beginning of this interview to close that polling gap, you said. When? And if it doesn't happen, most of the critics of Jeremy Corbyn you can dismiss as his enemies, lifelong enemies. But you're a great friend. Is there a moment at which even Diane Abbott looks and says, you know what, maybe this simply isn't working?
Oh, no, I'm confident we're going to close the gap in the coming 12 months. We've had a pretty difficult 12 months, partly Jeremy's enemies in the party, partly commentators, but we have the right policies and we have the right leader.
And when?
Within the coming 12 months.
Within 12 months, it's going to get better.